The habit wealthy children learn at home that makes school easy. Why does school feel effortless for some kids, while others feel like they're drowning in it? Same classrooms, same teachers, same textbooks, different results. You've been told it's intelligence or talent or natural ability. That's cute. The truth? There's one habit wealthy children learn at home, long before kindergarten, that makes school feel like a game instead of a battlefield. And nobody talks about it, because it's not flashy, it's not motivational, it doesn't make for viral parenting advice, but it changes everything, and if you understand it, you can replicate it. Let's break it down. 1. The myth of smart kids. We've been sold a story that some kids are just gifted, that some families just value education more, that success in school is about IQ. But here's the uncomfortable question. If intelligence alone made school easy, why do so many smart kids burn out? Why do some average students dominate class rankings? Why do wealthy families produce high performers across generations? Is it genetic or is it structural? Wealthy children are not just taught what to think. They're trained how to think, and more importantly, how to behave around information. There's a difference. One is content, the other is conditioning, and conditioning wins every time. 2. The habit, delayed reaction. Here it is. The habit wealthy children learn at home that makes school easy. They delay reaction. That's it. They don't react emotionally to difficulty. They pause. They assess. They respond strategically. It sounds simple. It's not. Most children grow up in reactive environments. Homework feels hard, and frustration. I'm bad at math. I hate school. I'm not smart. Immediate emotional labeling. Wealthy households operate differently. When a problem is difficult, the child isn't told, "You're smart." They're asked, "What's the system here? What do you think the teacher wants? How would you break this down?" See the shift? Emotion to strategy. This single shift turns school into a solvable puzzle instead of a personal attack. 3. School is a system, not a test of worth. Here's something nobody tells you. School isn't a measure of intelligence, it's a system of rules. Assignments have patterns, tests have structures, teachers have preferences. Wealthy children are trained early to look for leverage. They learn that. Grades are outputs. Teachers are gatekeepers. Rubrics are roadmaps. Participation is currency. So instead of reacting emotionally to low grades, they ask, what is this grading on? What are the points actually tied to? Where is the teacher predictable? You see the difference? One student says, "This is unfair." The other says, "What's the rule book?" That's not arrogance. That's training. 4. The dinner table difference. Let's talk about where this habit forms. The dinner table. In many households, conversations are reactive. How was school? Fine. Did you finish your homework? Yes. End of conversation. In high-agency households, dinner sounds different. What did you struggle with today? What did you learn about how your teacher grades? If you had to teach today's lesson, how would you do it? These questions train analysis. They normalize friction. They teach kids that struggle is data, not identity, and that's massive. Because when difficulty shows up, wealthy children don't panic. They decode. 5. Why this makes school easy. Let's break it down mechanically. When you don't react emotionally, you conserve mental energy. You maintain focus. You think clearly under pressure. You look for structure. You solve faster. Most students lose 50% of their energy fighting their own emotions. I'm stupid. This is too hard. I'll never get this. That's cognitive leakage. Wealthy kids are trained to treat difficulty like an engineering problem. They're calm. Not because it's easy, because they've practiced pausing. And calm thinking wins exams. 6. The hidden advantage. Adult modeling. Children copy adults. In affluent households, parents rarely explode at minor setbacks. A delayed business deal, they strategize, a lost contract, and they renegotiate. A tax complication? They consult experts. Children absorb this. They learn. Problems are logistical, not emotional. So when a math test is hard, their nervous system doesn't treat it like a threat. It treats it like a task. That's the habit. Emotional neutrality in the face of complexity. 7. The strategic mindset. Wealthy kids are taught something subtle. School is preparation, not identity. Their grades are not who they are. They are metrics. Metrics can be improved. Improvement has a method. Method can be learned. Compare that to children who hear, "You must get A's." Now failure equals shame. Shame triggers emotion. Emotion blocks analysis. Game over. The wealthy household removes shame and replaces it with strategy. 8. Why teachers love these kids. Let's be honest. Teachers reward composure. If two students ask for help, student A, "This makes no sense. I don't get it." Student B, "I tried step 3 and got stuck. Can you help me identify what I'm missing?" Who gets better support? Who gets better mentorship? The calm student, the strategic student, the student who delays reaction. It's not favoritism, it's signal quality. 9. This has nothing to do with money. Now pause. You don't need a mansion to teach this. You don't need private tutors. You need modeling. You need language. You need one consistent rule in your house. We don't react. We analyze. That's it. You can build that in any environment, but you have to be intentional because default culture is reactive. Social media is reactive. News is reactive. Peers are reactive. Calm is trained, not inherited. 10. How to install this habit. Let's get tactical. If you're a parent, when your child struggles, don't solve it. Don't soothe immediately. Ask structured questions. What's the first step? What's the teacher grading on? Can we break this into smaller parts? If you're a student, start practicing a 10-second pause. When something feels overwhelming, do nothing for 10 seconds. Then ask, what is actually being asked here? This interrupts emotional spirals. It creates cognitive space. Space creates strategy. Strategy creates results. 11. Why this compounds. Here's where it gets powerful. A child who delays reaction performs better on tests, gets more teacher support, builds confidence from competence, avoids burnout, develops self-trust. That self-trust spills into social interactions, leadership, interviews, career decisions. It compounds. And this isn't about school. It's about agency. 12. The real reason this isn't taught. Why doesn't everyone teach this? Because emotional regulation isn't sexy. It doesn't sell courses. It doesn't go viral. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Reactive people are easier to control. Calm thinkers are harder to manipulate. Wealthy families understand this. So they build calm. They build analysis. They build strategic response. Because strategy scales. Emotion drains. 13. What happens without it? Let's flip it. Without this habit, difficulty feels personal. Criticism feels like rejection. Failure feels final. Students avoid hard classes. They procrastinate. They give up early. Not because they lack intelligence, because they lack pause. The 10-second pause is the difference between quitting and recalibrating. On 14, school as a training ground. School rewards, deadlines, instructions, rubrics, participation, feedback loops. Wealthy children are trained to see these as levers. They reverse engineer grading systems. They build relationships with teachers. They ask for clarity early. They treat school like a system to master, not a judgment to survive. That mindset removes fear. Fear blocks thinking. Thinking wins school. 15. You can start today. You don't need generational wealth. You need generational composure. Start small. When frustration appears, pause. When confusion appears, break it down. When failure appears, audit the system. Replace. Why am I bad at this? With, what am I missing? That question changes everything. 16. The big picture. Zoom out. The habit isn't just delayed reaction, it's emotional discipline. It's strategic thinking. It's detachment from ego. It's seeing systems instead of stories. Wealthy children learn this early, so school feels manageable, predictable, structured, and therefore, easy. Not because it is easy, because they are trained. Closing. Here's the uncomfortable reality. The gap in school performance isn't about IQ. It's about nervous systems. The child who can pause wins. The child who can detach from emotion wins. The child who can analyze instead of react wins. You can install that in yourself, in your home, in your family line. One habit. Pause. Analyze. Respond. School becomes easier. Life becomes clearer. And strategy replaces stress. Now ask yourself, when difficulty shows up, do you react or do you calculate? That answer determines everything.